Batman, Wonder Woman, but like, look at, like, you can get a guitar.
Brandon would be that guy to like be that sucker and get the X-ray glasses.
Oh, that'd be a good way to start the cut.
He ordered sea monkeys because he wanted to have a friend.
He wanted sea monkey boobs. He got the X-ray glasses, and he got the sea monkeys so he could look at their boobs.
His mom's like, "What are you doing in there? I'm making sea monkeys."
Ooh, Brandon put that up a little bit higher.
What up, guys?
Mark, how you guys doing? We're going to do a bag and board. Some of this is obviously not going to see the light of day. Just like me, I'm in the background. Hey.
Where are you?
Look at this. I
John Cena.
I want to win this model rocket.
I'm in the other room. Be talking to you guys later.
Get out of here.
Anyway, we're bagging and boarding some comics, everybody.
Well, because Chad has an overabundance of comics that are just like, for instance, they're like in these old bags like this. I don't know if you can see. Look at the cardboard backing.
I'm not going to lie to you, though.
Like, was that a cereal box?
Well, that could be.
That's what people used, you know. People used to cut cereal boxes and use them.
True. So we'll get into this. What we've decided to do is I'm out here. I'm going to be the guy narrating or helping with commentary, but you guys are going to be looking at all of these old comics, and we're going to go how we got to bag and boarding to today. Because bag and boarding started, what, 60s? We didn't used to do that.
Yeah,
there wasn't ever such thing as bag and boarding.
1961 is what I had gathered. That Capcom. I have to look it up.
Yeah.
Capcom. But also, it would just be in bags, right? People would use, no real official comic book bags back then, because it just started to become a hobby, kind of like stamp collecting, coin collecting. Because for so long, comic books are just they're little kid stuff.
So let's start from what we know. Mark, your knowledge might be a little bit different because you found.
So in 1961, November 30th. DC actually, IE Comics and DC Comics submitted the name Comic Pack for trademarking, where you would get 4 comic books in a plastic bag, and that was, I gather that's where like the official, because like you said when we were talking about this before, you had even deeper insight. Before they made these bags, people were using
pantyhose bags.
Plastic.
So we know that the early 60s is when we're talking about the bags. We saw the pictures of it. We will show them. And we know that, what was his name? Bell that had the first?
Robert Bell.
Right. And he was from
the
New
first
York.
Price Guide and the first bag.
Same year they did both. I thought that was kind of fascinating. So one of the other things, too, is, so we know plastic bagging has been around since the 60s. The other thing is where did the boards come from? And like you had talked about, Mark, the research that I found was that the boards came from pantyhose. Or you would get the bag from a t-shirt or a tank top from holidays, and you would use that cardboard that was wrapped around the t-shirt.
And I had seen that kids would cut their cereal boxes because that's like you get at least two boards out of a cereal box. So they were using cereal boxes or anything they could get their hands on just because even if they weren't bagging the comics, they were stacking them.
Right.
And to help them stack better so they wouldn't move around as much, they would put cardboard in between them. And, because let's be honest, people were stacking comics from the floor all the way to the top of the table.
Yeah, we still see.
Maybe 50 to remember the video we watched where the guys were in the abandoned house? There was stacks of comics, no bags, but they were just like a stack of like old newspapers.
And that was the whole early 60s where people didn't even realize that these comics were worth any money. And when they were doing the 5 and dime stores and the Woolworths and so forth, and they go on clearance, they'd either put a sticker on them, price sticker,
you'll still see
or remember they said that they would open up the inside of it and then just write the price.
Well, and then people would put tape on the spines, and then they would take a lighter and burn the tape onto the spine, so you wouldn't be surprised to see some old comics with just like a melted tape line to keep the comic together from falling apart.
Give that damn thing to Brandon so he does that next.
And kids back in the day too, they would put property of so and so because they'd be trading it with their friends.
We saw that in one of our bag and boards.
There's like coupons in here, so you would cut out this coupon, or maybe you'd, I'm bored, I'm gonna figure out this maze this day, you know?
Yeah. Well, there was also, you know, like Brandon was saying in the beginning, these these things that you would buy that were absolute junk.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, the
like,
X-ray specs worked.
That
Okay.
you would get Joe suckered into.
sea monkeys.
And the X-ray.
You guys were heathens back in the day. Look at this. Look at this. It's
I didn't do
heathens.
that. Somebody
Heathen
gave that
activity.
to me.
And most of those bags.
That's
are
your
pretty
age
much,
range, though.
They're after about 3 years, 4 years, bags like that are gonna do more damage for your comic than good.
Yeah, because people had them, like, especially shops would have them out in the sun exposure. You
Well,
know,
now-
there's no one's protecting the comic cover from.
Well, and you have
sun
more
fading.
like polyurethane bags
Right.
that are gonna not suck the ink off the front of the page.
Well, how interesting, like you said, with the cardboard boxes of, like, say, a Cheerios box, boy, was that a really good thing for the cardboard, for the inside of a comic book.
I mean,
Mail
the one
away,
thing
mail away, get your high school diploma.
I think you would have to make sure that you were using the brown part against the comic over the
I'm sure
actual-
they were, but, you know, remember there was that, for a little while, I don't know if Brandon was around or collecting at the argument of, do you put the cardboard on the inside to keep the spine straight versus put it on the back of the
Yeah,
comic
a
book.
lot of people will put it on
A
the
lot of people put it in the middle, and then there's that's how collecting has evolved. So obviously we now have boards that came around in the mid 70s, right? And a lot of people on internet that we've looked at has said that bagging boards had been a thing when the 70s, when the comic code started to come in, and they were losing people. And what they did is they started to put them in a bag with a board and then raise the price so they'd make a little bit more money because plastic was so cheap. But also you have Robert Bell, who is now making a buku ton of money off of these things.
Well, and then also like the golden age of comics. That's when Superman and Batman and their first appearance and Submariner. So like 1938 to about 1956, they consider that the golden age, and after that, it's like the silver age for about 10 years.
And then bronze.
Yep.
And then kids would recycle paper because of like the war, and so do your part, So
Right.
little Timmy's going to donate all his comics to the store. They had no idea that these were going to have any value.
Well, and most of them were abandoned in cabins after they were read, and
Well,
Basements,
Yeah,
attics,
attics.
potato cellars,
And-
barns.
yeah.
especially after the war, though, after World War II, a lot of the comics lost popularity because who was Batman going to fight? Who was Superman going to fight? There was a big, they all fight Hitler, the Nazis, the Japanese. That was a big selling point.
Well,
selling
hell,
bonds.
Yeah.
they froze Captain America.
They-
They're like, let's put this on ice.
Literally.
Actually, Mark, they just paused him for a few years.
They paused him.
They paused him.
They paused
Yeah,
him.
he gets unfrozen. They freed the what?
Oh, wait. Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Oh, that was just me doing a pause.
Oh, got you. So now we've gotten to the point of the 80s where bagging became a thing. I mean, I remember in the 80s that I was bagging my comic books. I was doing something as stupid as like all my Alpha Flight, because I'm a huge nerd when it comes to Alpha Flight, and you're aware of this.
The only big Alpha Flight fan that I've ever met.
There's 4 of us and 3 are in Canada. But with that being said, I used to take the stencil and put my name, CCL, my initials on there. A lot of people did that, but because I was going to keep it forever, but I also kept it pristine. I still have it to this day.
Remember the crossovers with the food?
Give it to Mark.
Here, Mark.
Give it to Mark. That is
X-Men
the
ravioli,
most
guys.
ridiculous.
Chef Boyardee.
I wonder what that can
The X-Men,
goes
that big
for.
can.
Post edit, we got to make sure that we find something on eBay for those.
I still have that can.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that sticker. Look at that frickin' sticker on
Oh,
that, too.
75 cents.
That was probably from Schindler's, and that
Oh.
was probably
It's a what if, too.
my old roommate Fabian, rest in peace. All right, so we were also talking about the evolution into comic books and boards. And boards, they say, kind of became the norm around 80. What I saw was 89, 90, and that's
I
how.
saw 81.
See, I didn't.
I saw the late 80s, too.
Okay, see, I didn't see that. I saw somewhere between 89 and 90, and that is when I start remember. Like, I can tell you the first one that I saw was the Punisher series, the 1-4.
Yeah.
Is when I first saw that, and I'm glad that I saw that because I did that to my own bag and board on my was it a 4-part or a 5-part?
It's 4-part, yeah.
Wasn't it a 4-part that became a 5-part?
No, because a
four
4-part and then it goes into
No, I'm
issue
thinking of
number
Nightcrawler
one.
because Nightcrawler was
Nightcrawler has
4
the
and
5,
became
yeah.
a 5, yeah. The little sneaky things that they did.
But also, since I started really collecting and forming big memories with comics in the mid '90s, early '90s, was that was kind of, and looking in the research, like that's where it kind of really became uber popular in terms of people were seeing what the gold and silver age comics were selling for, because people were like, oh, like we do, we want to recapture a childhood.
Right.
But that became like the oversaturation of like everyone saving every comic book. You know, how many people have 20 bag comics of Death of Superman?
Well, the forward thinking of that, I mean, all of us did that as kids. We were the first gen of those collectors to have those, and a lot of what you're seeing is the stuff that I collected and I still kept to this day. Yeah, and that's hard to do, to travel and do all those things. But speaking of the travel, we now moved on to the box, which was the old...
I used to have stacks of these until I realized...
The old white boxes that you would get. Obviously, they probably got that from the banker boxes, right? And they were acid-free, so everything would stay in there longer. And
look how long my arms are.
That's what she said. But, and then Brandon go to the other one, and now they have evolved. Now this is the norm of basically a big hardcover box of and have Mark hold on, just show it a little bit, but these are the norm for the comics now. I mean, this is, and they're cheap. They're not expensive. My record crates cost more.
Yeah, no, they're cheap, easy to put together. But also nowadays there's been a movement of old file cabinets, and I have an old file cabinet. I put it in like old legal filing cabinets. You put in foam, put in dividers. You start putting in your bag comics.
So grab this so you can see where.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, this is great, because like the old big box,
and that's how they come.
Showed, you get so much weight in it, and it's just such a back-breaking task. This is like built solid, It's like made to last. If there's a little moisture, you seen there was like a wet spot on that box. These things are going to generally be pretty safe in your basement or your attic.
You're already bagged and boarded.
But I still would probably go with smaller ones just because I'm old and I don't like to carry these big ones around as much anymore.
Yeah.
But also, where we live, God forbid, a pipe burst because it's so cold out.
Right. But that's kind of what we have right here in the one that I haven't built yet. I have minimized, and you guys seen me sell my comics. I sold all my Thor, my original Beta Ray Bill series. But I'm kind of keeping the ones that I really, really love,
You're cherry picking.
Yeah, I am cherry picking, but I also think it's fun now that when you start collecting and you, or going back into your old collection, that you can literally get the bags and the boards like right in front of you, Mark.
How much better though, real quick. Look how much better this looks. Sorry.
Oh, that does. Show that first, Mark.
Okay, Mark, show this. It looks so much better than literally 4 minutes ago when.
Yeah, that's pimp.
Oh, it makes. I mean, you just added $10 to that comic. Yeah. Just by the 20 cents between the bag and the book. They're about a dime a piece.
And then you see right there, they make it so easy with.
And these are like top of the line. These are kind of the ones, the top of the line that people generally go with now.
And
see, it says acid free,
coated one side, precision cut.
And that's where I got they come in kits now. Where I got the.
I mean, you brought all that together. Right?
I bought the whole thing. I bought the box and then the bag and board like that for like $100. And that's what. 150 comics.
Yeah.
So then I just got to get the tape.
And then the other popular thing though nowadays is you go into a comic book store and you see the short boxes that are the cardboard, but they have like, they put all the Marvel heroes. They put Batman and the Justice League
with the picture of Venom on it.
Exactly.
I will say that a tip that I can give people. If you really have a ton of comics, wait till the Black Friday sales, because all the comic book stores will have bags and boards on sale. Like I've gone to the Source, I've gone to Comic Book College. Normally it's like $10 for 100 boards.
Right.
$10 for 100 bags. Well, if you go there, it's 20% off, man. I'm gonna stock up. I'm gonna buy 300.
It's like record store day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And not only that, but the record, the comic book day is so much more fun because the variants that are out there for the white, like I used to make fun of you guys getting the variants, but the white full ones, I'm like, what the hell are you buying those for? And you're
sketch
like,
covers.